I was 75 years old when I walked into that dance studio for the first time, my hands trembling not from age, but from a fear so deep it had been eating me alive for months. 3 weeks earlier, my doctor had looked me in the eye and said the words that still echo in my mind, "Margaret, if you don't find a reason to move your body and reconnect with joy, I'm genuinely worried about how much time you have left." Let me back up a bit. My name is Margaret, and until that moment in Dr. Peterson's office, I thought I was doing just fine. Sure, I'd been a little more tired since Harold passed 2 years ago. Yes, I'd stopped cooking real meals and started living on frozen dinners and crackers. And maybe I hadn't left the house much except for grocery runs and doctor appointments, but fine. I thought I was managing just fine. The truth was, I was disappearing. Not physically, though I had lost nearly 30 pounds without trying. I was disappearing from the inside out. The woman who used to host dinner parties for 12, who volunteered at the literacy center every Tuesday, who sang in the church choir for 43 years, she was gone. In her place was this hollow shell who spent most days in Harold's old recliner, watching game shows and wondering if anyone would notice if I just stopped. My daughter Sarah had been calling more frequently, her voice tight with worry. "Mom, when's the last time you went anywhere? When's the last time you did something you enjoyed?" I couldn't answer her because I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt genuine enjoyment about anything. Food tasted like cardboard, colors seemed muted. Even the birds outside my kitchen window, the ones Harold and I used to watch every morning over coffee, felt like strangers. That's what led to the doctor's visit. Sarah had practically dragged me thereafter. I'd fallen asleep during our phone call for the 3rd time in a week. Dr. Peterson ran his tests, checked my blood, listened to my heart. Everything came back normal for a woman my age. But when he sat down across from me and really looked at me, not at my chart, but at me, his expression changed. "Margaret," he said gently, "your body is healthy, but you're dying anyway. You're dying from loneliness, from lack of purpose, from forgetting who you are beyond being Harold's widow. I can't prescribe medication for that, but I can tell you this: you need to find something that makes you feel alive again, and you need to find it soon." I drove home in a daze, his words bouncing around in my head like pinballs. What made me feel alive? I honestly couldn't remember. That evening, I found myself standing in front of our old photo albums, something I'd avoided since Harold died because it hurt too much. But there I was, turning pages, looking for clues about who I used to be. And then I found it. A picture from our 25th wedding anniversary party. Harold and I were dancing, really dancing, not just swaying to the way you look tonight. My head was thrown back in laughter, my dress spinning around my legs, and the joy on my face was so radiant, it took my breath away. I remembered that night. I remembered feeling beautiful, graceful, completely present in my own body. I remembered feeling alive. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in months. I got dressed in real clothes, not just my bathrobe and slippers. I put on lipstick, and I drove to the community center, where I'd seen a sign for senior dance classes every time I'd passed by for grocery shopping. Walking through those doors was terrifying. The music was already playing, something upbeat and Latin that I didn't recognize. There were maybe 15 people in the room, most of them women around my age, but a few men too. Everyone seemed to know what they were doing except me. I almost turned around and left, but then the instructor, a vibrant woman named Rosa, who couldn't have been more than 40, spotted me hovering by the door. "First time?" she asked with such warmth that I felt my shoulders relax slightly. When I nodded, she took my hand and said, "Perfect. We're just starting with the basics today. No pressure, just movement and music." Those first few classes were humbling. My body felt foreign to me, stiff and uncooperative. I kept apologizing to my dance partners for stepping on their feet, for forgetting the steps, for being so obviously out of place. But something strange started happening around week 3. The music began to seep into my bones. My hips started to remember how to sway. My arms found their rhythm. More importantly, I started to remember what it felt like to be touched, not in a romantic way, but in the simple, human way of a dance partner's hand on my back, guiding me through a turn. I'd forgotten how much I'd missed that basic human connection, that wordless communication between two people moving together to music. By month 2, I was arriving early and staying late. I'd made friends with Eleanor, a retired teacher who'd started dancing after her divorce. and with Frank, a widower who told me that dancing was the only thing that made him feel like himself again. We'd go for coffee after class sometimes, sharing stories about our old lives and our tentative steps toward new ones. The transformation wasn't just physical, though I did start sleeping better and eating real food again. It was deeper than that. Dancing gave me back my body, yes, but it also gave me back my sense of possibility. Every week, I learned something new. Every week, I got a little bit better. Every week, I proved to myself that I was still capable of growth, still capable of joy. 6 months in, Rosa asked if I'd be interested in performing in the community center's annual showcase. The old Margaret would have said, absolutely not. But this Margaret, this woman who'd rediscovered her own grace, her own strength, said yes before she could talk herself out of it. The night of the performance, Sarah was in the front row, tears streaming down her face as she watched her mother glide across that stage in a flowing blue dress, dancing to La Vida es una fiesta, with Frank as my partner. Later, she told me it was like watching me come back to life in real time. That was 8 months ago. I'm still dancing 3 times a week. I've started cooking again, real meals that I actually taste and enjoy. I've rejoined the church choir. I'm volunteering at the animal shelter on weekends because, it turns out, puppies and kittens don't care if you're 75. They just want your attention and affection. But here's what I really want you to know. It's never too late to remember who you are. It's never too late to try something that scares you. It's never too late to let music move through your body. To let another person's hand guide you through steps you've never learned before. To discover that grace and joy and possibility don't have expiration dates. If you're watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you're feeling invisible or forgotten, or like your best days are behind you, please hear me when I say this. They're not. Your next chapter is waiting for you. Maybe it's not dancing. Maybe it's painting or gardening or learning a new language or volunteering or traveling to places you've always wanted to see. But it's something, and it's out there, and you deserve to find it. Take that first step. Walk through that door. Let yourself be a beginner again. Let yourself be surprised by your own resilience, your own capacity for joy. Trust me when I tell you that the person you used to be is still in there, just waiting for the right music to call her back to life.